I'm okay.
Okay, well, welcome to PopEntertainment.com. This is the cast of Chicago from Broadway at the Boardwalk. Why don't you all introduce yourself and tell us who you're playing?
I'm David Bushman. I'm actually the dance captain for the Broadway company, and I'm a swing, and I'm here to do Me and My Baby.
I'm Jennifer Fouche. I play Mama Morton, just off the National Broadway tour, and I'm so excited to be here.
I'm Jessica Earnest, and I play Roxy today.
I'm Cole Weiss, and I'm also just off the national tour dancing a little baby this evening.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Chicago is such a legendary musical. What's it like to be part of that whole history, Broadway history?
Incredible. You know, there's 22 years of people associated with this show, and talent, and stories, and connections, and relationships that you get to do, and you have to live up to that every single night, 8 times a week. It's incredible.
Everything is so rich. The music, the history of the actual choreography between Fosse and Ann Ranking, and so many incredible people have come before you, and everyone's put their own spin on it. It's timeless and fresh all at the same time, which is why I love the show.
And the Chicago experience, the family really is that. It spans so much time. We still have people in the Broadway company now who have been there almost since its very beginning in the mid-90s. So we actually have people that have just arrived into the family in the last year. But what's lovely is that we get to share all of that experience at the different levels that we've come into it. It is more relevant than it's ever been, the show.
Right.
And you know, carrying on the Fosse style, not just in this show, but choreographically when we go out and we do the show on tour. Many of us teach workshops. I mean, just keeping the Fosse language alive.
Well, it's funny because, like you said, it's more up to date than it ever has been. Like in the 1970s, when Fosse first put it out, there was nothing such as a celebrity cellmate or something like that. Do you think that he and Fred Ebb sort of had an idea of what was coming?
I think they were a little bit ahead of their time, but absolutely, I think they definitely saw a place for this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
Right. Well, over the years, have you had a particular favorite that has played any of these roles over the...
Oh, there's so many.
There have been so many.
It'd be
great
hard to pick a
people.
favorite, but it's certainly true that there have been countless celebrities that have come in and found themselves in this show for the first time on stage. Some of them even who've come from television or movies, the music world. So it's really lovely to introduce them to this show.
Yeah. Now, what is it that you think it is that the show has been running for so long, either on Broadway or on tour or something like that for so many years? What is it about it that it just keeps going?
I think, like you said before, it's timeless. There's so much to connect to even today, 22 years later after the revival launched, and you know how many years since the original production, since it was originally written.
Yeah,
I also think it's the heart. You know, I think that this show ultimately, as big as it is, as presentational as it is, it's still very grounded in subject matter with respect to the human condition. And anything that talks about the human condition in a genuine way, and Candor and Ebb were just genius about it, is going to last forever because we're always going to be people, right? So I think that's what it is.
Now, not even necessarily as actors and dancers and singers, but maybe even just as fans. When do you remember first learning about Chicago? Coming across
High school. I was in high school when it was open. The original production was on Broadway.
Okay.
Yes, I'm showing my age. But yes, and I remember doing numbers from Chicago in my swing choir in high school.
Okay.
I was a little kid, and my mother actually was getting her MFA in theater, and she can't sing a lick, so she was literally just playing the music. She certainly wasn't singing it, but I heard it and was so I've always loved it. Yeah.
I remember we did Cell Block Tango freshman year for a talent show, and so that was my first time ever performing the show. I'm sure I'd heard about it before, but we wanted our high school to do it so badly, and they wouldn't for obvious reasons.
Right.
I'd heard about the musical before, but I think the first time that I when the movie came out was the first time that I saw any type of. I mean, I didn't grow up with YouTube or anything, so all of that was my first introduction to the music. Was
Amazing.
Well, it's funny because even the movie is 15 years old now. It's like,
Really? 18 years old?
Is that
How
hard
dare
to
you?
believe?
How dare you put years on that?
Yes, sir. I'm
We're
sorry,
in our
believe me, I'm aged.
22nd year.
Exactly.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But do you find that more people come to see it now who may have seen the movie but not be familiar with the
absolutely.
theater and theatrical version?
And there's so many people coming back to see the show again.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been hearing from people, this is my 5th, my 6th time, and it's not old. Like, they still come. There's something to be said about the bare bones, vaudeville style of the show, is that we're not lost in a bunch of, huge production. It's us, literally and figuratively naked on stage, telling the story and doing this very specific style of work, and I think it is timeless. Yeah.
There's so many classic songs in the song. It's got all that jazz, it's got Razzle Dazzle, it's got Honeybees, Tango, all sorts of things. Do you have any that is a particular favorite for you, or is that hard to choose?
I really love all of it because I love both Reach for the Gun, and I know I'm cheating because my character sings this duet, but Class just gives me my whole life. That duet between Mama Morton and Velma is ridiculous and a wonderful just contradiction, and it just cracks me up. It's clever.
By the way, both Reach for the Gun is probably one of my favorites too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So you understand.
But let's see. Well, when you found out about this whole idea of Broadway on the Boardwalk, what did you think about that? I mean, I know most shows have Mondays off, but you guys, I believe, actually do a show on Monday.
Yeah, we're actually, some of us are not at work tonight. Somebody else is on for us, so we could be here.
Exactly. So how was that worked out? And why did you decide to come here?
I actually love being in an atmosphere like this. We do Bryant Park as well. Like most of the Broadway shows will come up in Bryant Park in the city, and have an outdoor performance which is essentially free for people to just come and see and get a taste of Broadway. I think that this is like a perfect venue. We've got the water right behind us. It's taking us out of our element, but it's also, I think it continues to build audience. Because, I've never seen that before. I need to go to see the production itself. There's something kind of lovely about doing this outside of the black box, too.
Absolutely. Oh, completely, yeah.
Well, I
think a lot of people, not a lot of people, but there are certain people that can't make it to New York City, they can't make it to the theater. So, bringing a little bit of ourselves and our show to them is so special because maybe it's something they've never seen or never will get to see. So it might inspire them, like you were saying, to come. Say, oh, this is something that I connected to really deeply. Maybe I will make an effort.
And as artists, that's what we really want to do. You always want to just share what you can, So you never know in an audience who's sitting there who's never heard this music before, or some little kid who said, "I want to do that." Like that's why we do what we do. So I jump at the chance to do things like this.
Well, is it interesting in a place like this to also be able to see the audience while you're doing the performance?
Absolutely. It's rare that you get to see the audience that well.
Yeah. You just hear them singing off key, which is the best.
Right. Well, in what ways is concert performing of these songs differently? Obviously, you don't have the dialogue and you don't have the props, but how do you do it differently in something like this than you would do on stage on Broadway?
It's a different way of telling the story. Because you don't have, we all have done the show tons and tons of times, so we all know the background and we know where the heart is and the connection that we have to the piece and the words that we're saying. But here, it's people that don't know necessarily the circumstances that you're bringing to them for those 2.5 minutes or however long the song is. So you have to find other ways to show them where you are and why you're singing this and what's exciting about it, I think.
Yes.
I also think that being in this atmosphere, it's a little bit more informal. There's something relaxed about it, but we still want to do the work justice. So it's still our, the bar is high. We want to still be able to represent the numbers as best as we can, but it is informal. It's a little bit like getting up at a party and doing a number. So there's a very different sense about that level of sharing. And like you're saying, it's a connection in a different way than the theater. The stage is a little bit more removed, and we basically can reach down and touch their hands and have eye contact, like you were saying. But also, we're just here having a good time. So there's a bit more of a party atmosphere to it, but we still want to do the work well.
That's right.
There's no dance floor on the stage. We're dancing on wood. It's old school, but
there's
it's
seagulls flying around.
But it's amazing. Seagulls, We've had bats on stage when we've done outdoor performances. So you just deal with the elements.
Well, how do you think that concerts like this really help to sort of get the word out. Not only, I know you touched on that, but also just get a hold of the community and let more people know about what you're doing.
Well, I think, again, we're touching the people that come here.
Right.
Very often at Bryant Park and here, people will come up and introduce themselves, get autographs, and they're going to go back to people, and they're going to say, oh, look what I've, so it really is. It's
people talk to each other.
They do.
The way a movie sort of spreads around, like before the critics can get a hold of it, right? It's like people just talk to each other, and that's what's so great. It spreads like wildfire when it's good, and we're good. So.
Of course, that goes without saying. Okay, well, thank you all so much. I can't wait to see your performance.